Okay, good morning, dear friends. Bruchim Abayim. Rabbi Fahi is on his way to Lakewood, New Jersey. He asked me to fill in for him this morning. Welcome to the Daniel S. Loeb Torah Center. Oh, God bless you. Thank you so much. I need that. Today's class dedicated for continued health of Rabbanit Chana Fari Chana Basi Mafega and Lud Nishmat Ruth Orfali Bat Adela, Refor Shlema Eliyahu Shimon Ben Mazal Fotonei, and the Torah Center Silvadona Miron Nisim, loving memory Nishmat Miron's grandfather Mordechai Ben David and Dina Alav HaShalom. Okay, so there's a very unusual word that pops out at the beginning of this very important and special parasha, and it is the word Nitzavim. Nitzavim. It's very hard to understand what this word is doing over here. If you look at the translation, it says you are standing, and that is what Rashi tells us. Atem Nitzavim. You are standing here today. Standing where? And why? On the threshold of going to Israel. Well, of course they're standing. What else would they be doing over here? Well, I got a lot of liquid now. I got 2 coffees, a tea. Okay, thank you so much. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'akol niyeh bivaro. How do you say standing in Hebrew? Omed, right? Omdim, like the Amidah. That's a standing over here. Why Nitzavim? So Nitzavim, says Rashi and the others, is a stronger form of eternal standing. I think in English it works too. You have a standing in the community. It doesn't mean you're standing. It means you're a special person. Let's read Rashi together on this beautiful morning. Melamed, Shechnisa Moshe lefnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. God entered the entire Jewish people in front of God, biyom moto, on the day of his death. What day did Moshe Rabbeinu die? 7th of Adar, right? Which is also the day that he was born, right? So this is his birthday and his bitira. It's a 2-for-1. And he wanted to stand, lachnisam b'brit, and he wanted him to stand in order to be accepted into the Brit. This is the Brit, not the Brit where I just came from, Britain. No, that's Brit N. Right, that's done with that Brit, right? No, that's finished. No, this is the Brit, the covenant, the promise of eternal connection to God, to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That is what he entered them into at this point. Nitzavim. Why would he think that they are falling? Why would they need to stand at this point? So Rashi goes on to tell us, and the others mention as well, that they just received a whole list of lo aleinu klalot, curses, that they could have received if they do not follow the Torah and the mitzvot in Eretz Yisrael, which they're about to enter. And he says, I know you've heard all of these curses. I know it's terrifying with the responsibility that comes with Torah mitzvot. Atem nitzavim. You're still here, right? You're still here. You're still standing. No matter how many times they try to kill you, no matter how many times they want to hurt you, you are still here. So this is a renewal of this covenant that the Jewish people have. Let's jump a little bit to chapter 30, where Moshe Rabbeinu goes into a little bit more detail about the promises that he's making the Jewish people. And he says, V'haya, ki yavohu alecha kol hadavarim, all these things that I've been telling you for all of these days, okay, for 37 days that he's been speaking to the Jewish people. There have been 3 speeches. He says, Habracha, all of the blessings, Va'klala, and all of the lo aleinu curses, which I gave you, asher natati lefanecha, v'shavet levavecha. This is all here to bring your heart and return you all of these things from among these nations that I placed you. Moshe Rabbeinu is saying that at the end of days, so this is a prophecy which Moshe Rabbeinu is giving right now, before they even enter into Israel, that at the end of days, in Acharit Yamim, you are going to be gathered from the 4 corners of the earth, and I'm going to return you to this land. Isn't that weird? They haven't even entered Israel for the first time. And Moshe Rabbeinu is like, I know it's difficult, and I know you're going to do a lot of things you shouldn't be doing, and you're going to be dispersed. He's telling you're going to go into Galut. He says it explicitly. But he says, do not worry. When you're out there in Galut, I promise you Galut is not going to be, exile is not going to be your final destination. You are going to return to Hashem. And then he says something which is remarkable. And I'm going to read these words because they are to be understood allegorically, possibly, maybe not. Umal Hashem Elokecha. Your God is going to mal. What's mal? Milah. What's milah? What's a milah? Brit, milah. A brit is a covenant, a promise that cannot be broken. Mal is the cutting away part. It's the cutting away. Milah is the literally cut away. So Moshe Rabbeinu is like, before you come back, at the end of days, Acharit Yamim, right? That's what he's talking about now. He says, God is going to do something. He's going to circumcise you. What? We had circumcision already. And what about the women? They don't need circumcision. Ed levavcha, your heart. Umal Hashem elakecha levavcha. God is going to circumcise your heart. Ved levav zerecha, and the hearts of your children. La'ahava, to love et Hashem elakecha, the Lord your God. V'chol levavcha, with all your heart. V'chol nafshcha, your soul. Leman chayecha, so that you can live. What? Can someone please tell me? I understand what a Brit Milah is, a circumcision that a baby boy gets on his 8th day in this world. What precisely is a circumcision of the heart? What does this mean even? How do you circumcise the heart? This is obviously not to be understood literally, or maybe it is. I'll give you a couple of very famous interpretations. We'll start with the Ibn Ezra and others, and they say God is going to help the Jewish people right before Mashiach comes. That's what he says. To do Teshuva. The door is going to be opened up. There's going to be a fulfillment of this promise and prophecy of Moshe Rabbeinu. Acharit Yamim, which are words that Moshe Rabbeinu himself uses. Acharit Yamim, one of the rare references to Yamot HaMashiach, the days of Mashiach's arrival. And Hashem is going to open doors which may not have been opened before for there to be a Teshuva revolution. Let me ask you, is there a Teshuva revolution happening right now? Maybe. We're getting different answers over here.
I think so.
Give me examples. Give me examples right now where we're seeing a Teshuva revolution.
10 years ago, there were 2 people in this class.
Very good answer. 10 years ago, there was 2 people in the class, and now things have grown. Okay, but there's still a lot of Jewish people who haven't entered into the mal levavcha, the circumcision of the heart, who aren't coming to class. You're right, Baruch Hashem, the class has grown, and tefillah has grown, and the synagogues, most of the synagogues, those who are selling truth and emet, not the false ones, they're empty. They're being sold, right? Every day you see another of these other synagogues being sold, but the real synagogues that have an attachment to Torah and mitzvot, they are definitely growing. But are we seeing a Teshuva revolution? I spoke to a number of Rabbanim about this. And you can see with your own eyes. And the answer is, I think, a little geographical. Some parts of the world, there is a Teshuva revolution. You see in South Africa, La Mashal. You see the synagogues and the movement back towards Torah mitzvot, those traditional communities. In Great Britain, in England, I was just there, the synagogues, Baruch Hashem, full. We're seeing it. Eretz Yisrael. No matter what they say to you on the press and the media, there is a Teshuva revolution. We're seeing people coming close, attaching themselves. Jewish people down south in the Negev, going to synagogue, going to Torah classes, Yerushalayim for sure, Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv is doing Baruch Hashem very, very well. It's a real growing, fast community. In the United States, is there a Teshuva revolution? I don't think so. I'm not sure. I spoke to one of Rabbanim about this, a great, great man, Rabbi Saperstein, and I spoke to him about it, and he gave me the following answer. He said, for sure we're going to see, as we get close to Mashiach, people coming back. But there seems to be this certain atrophy we're seeing among our people. You see, do you remember back in the 60s, definitely the 70s, maybe the 80s, there were people who come to the Kotel, and they would be searching and backpacking and looking for truth and emet, And you see Jeff Seidel, my dear friend, would go, we'd pick him up and take him for a free lunch, give him a fluffel and stick him in yeshiva. Next thing you know, the long hair would come off and the payot would stay, and they would go to yeshiva and they would learn, they would grow. And we saw people were searching for emet. Many, many, many people. There was a very strong Teshuva revolution that we were seeing of people who were searching. And then something happened. And then there seemed to be a fall-off. And this idea of Meir Schuster, for example, used to go to the Kotel, he would pick them up and take them. There was a fall-off. Why was this? Why do we not see these people who are searching for emet anymore? What happened over here? So he gave me the following answer. After the Holocaust, we lost a lot of Jewish people. A lot. After the exile from the Arab, Muslim lands, we saw a great drop-off. And then among these communities, there started to be a build-up. It's like Hashem said, I'm going to open up the doors. The doors of Teshuva are going to be open. It's going to be much easier. I'm going to give you, just as the Pasuk is telling you, I'm going to give you the desire to do Teshuvah. That's the way Hashem did it. And he opened up the doors after the Holocaust, and we started to see communities build and build and build. The Syrian community, Baruch Hashem, the Persian community, right? The Persians a little bit later, because they only got out after 79. So you look at Sfarim from the 70s and 80s, Halakha Sfarim, they give the Syrian minhag and the Moroccan minhag. You don't see the Persian minhag because they weren't here, right? They were just getting out. But you saw, as the decades went by, you saw this change. And then Hashem said, I've given you enough, and the Teshuva revolution is done. When I say revolution, I mean this large movement of Jewish people. The resurgence, good word. The resurgence that we saw, now it's done. Now it turned into Yechidim and Yechidot, individuals. This mass movement, I don't think exists anymore. Hashem said, fine, I gave you an opportunity, you fill it up, you build your synagogues, and now it's time to figure it out yourselves. That's the way it always works throughout history. There's this feeling, there's this resurgence, a feeling of we all need to come back, and there's this mass movement, and then it moves away. From the days of Avraham Avinu, it was like this. Avraham Avinu is walking around. He's bringing back thousands of people. They're coming in under the Kanfei Shekhinah, and he's making mamash a revolution. What happened to all those people? Where are all the people who Avraham Avinu brought back? They didn't become the Jewish people, because only his descendants, through the Yitzchak and Yaakov, became the Jewish people. Where are the rest of them? Where did they go? Mechatesa. They went home. Some say they went home to spread ethical monotheism in their communities. Some say they went home and they reverted to Avodah Zarah. They went back. They went OTD, off the derech. Right? My son, they love saying this. Oh, he went OTD. She's OTD. I said, well, she's not FFB? She's like, no, she's ZBT. Zealous Bal Tshuva. You know all these like FFB from birth? Right? Off the derech. They love all these acronyms. I always say OMG. Oh my God. Okay. So this is what we see. This resurgence stopped, and Hashem has closed it down, and now he's like, fine, I'm going to refine it. I want individuals. We've shifted from the Avraham Avinu section of everyone coming back, which was good, and some stuck, but we need individuals. It's up to each and every individual to circumcise their own heart and to come back. And that's why you're seeing, although there isn't this mass movement, the ones who are entering right now into the world of Torah mitzvot, it's a lot more authentic. And I want to use that word. This authenticity that we're seeing among the Baalei Teshuva, those people are coming back. When I say Baalei Teshuva, let me just define that for a minute. Excuse me. This is in my head a lot. I don't have a social life. I think about this a lot. You know, it used to be that the Teshuva movement that Moshe Rabbeinu was talking about used to be people who were far off. People who grew up middle of Alabama, right? Some far off place in New Jersey, cities you never even heard of before, you know? And they would be so far off, and they would come back, and they would join the Jewish people, and they would go to the Chabad, they go to the local synagogue, and they would get involved. This is much less now. Do you know I got so much to say on this. Do you know who right now are the people who are coming close? The kids who grew up kind of religious in the yeshivot. These kids, that is the outreach of our generation. There, I said it. And I worked in Kiruv Rochokim. Kiruv from people who are far away for a long time. Now it's all Kiruv Krovim. It's all about bringing those Jewish people who went to yeshiva, went to Jewish day school, learned absolutely nothing, which...
The seed was planted. The seed was planted.
The seed was planted, yes. Oh yeah, 100%. The seed was planted. 100%. It was there, and now it's coming out. The seed was there. You need the seed. You need the seed. You need those kids to go to yeshiva. It's there. They know basics, but the obvious stuff, it's unbelievable how little they know. But it's very, very important. I'm not putting it down, chas v'chilila. I'm not putting it down. Those kids who went through it was worth it. Even the kids who went to the Solomon Shechters, the conservative schools, they end up becoming the best students. They have a little bit, they have a positive outlook, and now you have something to build upon. This whole Kiruv Rechokim thing, bringing those who are far, far off, middle of nowhere, very, very little. In our generation right now, in this decade, very, very little. Now it's all. I consider, and excuse me for saying this, but I've got 5 kids in yeshiva, well, actually they're all post-married. I've got 2 kids teaching yeshiva now, Baruch Hashem. One in Eretz Yisrael, teaching over there, she's a teacher there. One in Y&J and Frisch over here. I told her before she started, every Jewish child today, I don't care how they look like, I don't care how religious their parents are, I don't care who their kids are, the rabbanim, I don't care. Every single piece of Jewish education today is kiruv. It's all outreach. That's what we're seeing in our generation. This is what Moshe Rabbeinu was saying. Even you who are standing here today, who grew up with me, you spent 40 years with me in the desert, it's all outreach today. These kids, I'm telling you, even this Shabbat, a Hasidic dude came over to me. Furry hat, the whole thing. He walks over, he's having a conversation with me, he knows, he watches my stuff a little bit, and he tells me, he says, my kids, not religious. I'm like, what are you talking about? Religious is married. He goes, nah. It's all a show. It's all chitzoniot. It's shocking. You have conversations with some people. They don't even believe in Hashem. I've spoken to people, if you saw them on the street, you'll think they're the next Rosh Hashiva. Half of these people don't even believe in Hashem. When I say half, I'm underplaying it. It could be more. I saw an interview with an ex-Hasidic guy. He says, in my community, religious Hasidim, he says, I can't believe he said this, but he knows 70 to 80% don't believe in Hashem. 70 to 80% are lot ma'aminim. This is Moshe Rabbeinu talking about. He's not talking about, I'm going to circumcise the heart of some dude in Alabama, right? Some guy in, northern Florida. That's what he's talking to us today. We are all part of this. This entire parasha of Nitzavim is, you're still standing, but barely. You are barely hanging on. I know in your Sephardic ears, my dear friends, and maybe Ashkenazim, the idea of religious people who go to synagogue, who wear the levush, and they have the yarmulke, put the tefillin, like kind of don't believe in Hashem, there are so many of them. It's shocking. Forget, that's the religious ones. Forget the kids in yeshiva who don't even care, just have a good time and, stay on social media and watch TikTok. I'm not even talking about that. Basic emunah does not exist en masse among our people. This Teshuva movement is over. Now we have to grab individuals and pull them in. And every single Jew we are able to bring into the fold today is a mitzvah and a fulfillment of the words of Moshe Rabbeinu. I know it's shocking. I'm sorry to upset you, but I have a lot to say, but I don't want to get cancelled. But I'm telling you, it's become a cult. I'm sorry. A lot of these movements within Judaism have become little mini cults or sects, and they are cultural realities. They are cultural institutions. I'm not putting it down. Better to do that and be involved and marry a Jewish person and maybe the kids and grandkids. But basic emunah, Moshe Rabbeinu is saying, Hashem is going to circumcise the hearts. I'll tell you what the Ramban says. Just to finish off with this, the Ramban, he follows the more Kabbalistic interpretation of everything we're saying. And he says, right before Mashiach comes, and once Mashiach comes, there's going to be such an incredible revolution. The Yetzer Hara is going to disappear, and the world is not going to appear the same at all. He's unique. The Rambam says, no, the world's going to carry on as is, and people doing this, and learning, and not learning, and people are still going to be doing what they need to do. The Yetzer Hara is still going to have power over us. The Ramban says, it's done. There's going to be a complete revolution. The world from before Mashiach, the Moshe Rabbeinu is talking about, how Mashiach is a complete and utter revolution, and that is what the foreskin of the heart represents. It's going to be unrecognizable, going back to the world before the sin of Adam and Chava, he says. Before that, we're going back there, where the Yetzer Hara was an external reality represented by the snake. You're going to see it, you have to remove yourself from it, and it's all going to be Yetzer Tov. That's the Ramban. He follows complete different trajectory, and he says the world you see is going to be unrecognizable. That's the Ramban in his words. Okay, God willing, B'ezrat Hashem, we'll sing these words. May we all bring our children back and our children's children, B'ezrat Hashem, and may we have an end of a good year. The last week of the year can fix up all previous weeks of the year. So this is the last Tuesday of the year, right? Let's try to get it right. God bless you all. Have a great, successful day. Shalom.